The World Health Organization has published its conclusions into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic. It found that it's most likely that COVID-19 was transmitted from bats to humans via an unidentified animal. But the Director General of the WHO says he believes this assessment requires further investigation and that all hypotheses remain on the table. Well, we can take a look now at the report's findings. Investigators say the theory that the virus started due to a leak from a lab is extremely unlikely. They say it's likely to very likely that the virus was transmitted from animals, although it's not clear how it spread to humans. And the report draws no firm conclusion on the source of the virus, despite members of the investigation team saying a so-called wet market in the Chinese city of Wuhan was the most likely original source. Well, we can bring in our Asia correspondent now, Tom Cheshire. He's in Beijing for us. So, Tom, the WHO says a laboratory leak is the least likely hypothesis for the pandemic, but they did also acknowledge that they had difficulties compiling this report because we know that they weren't able to see everything they wanted to when they came to China.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of what we've got in this report was pretty scripted. We'd expected it was very similar to what they said in the press conference in Wuhan, where we were in February. These are the findings, and they sort of reiterated them. What's very new, what's very surprising is that after this report has been published, the head of the World Health Organization has made his own remarks, released in a press release earlier, and he's really set fire to this report, to all intents and purposes, talking about that lab leak hypothesis, which they said wouldn't require further investigation. In the official WHO report, Dr. Cheshire says, "I believe this assessment was not extensive enough. Further data and studies will be needed to reach more robust conclusions. Although the team has concluded that the laboratory leak is the least likely hypothesis, this requires further investigation, potentially with additional missions involving specialist experts, which I am ready to deploy." I mean, this is extraordinary in two ways. First of all, this report has been a long time in the making, and this is the head of the World Health Organization saying, well, actually, this isn't good enough. But second, what this means for China. Dr. Tedros has been renowned for his diplomatic approach. Some say the WHO have been giving in too much to China from the start of the pandemic, not pushing them hard enough because they didn't want to lose cooperation in the midst of a pandemic. Now, that seems to have changed. As far as Beijing was concerned, this report meant it was job done. They said they'd been open and transparent. They were calling on the WHO to go to America to investigate laboratories there. Now, the head of the WHO is saying he's ready to send another mission to China specifically to look at whether COVID-19 came from a Chinese virus laboratory. That is a really, really crucial intervention. It's going to make Beijing very, very angry. I imagine we'll hear from them very soon. It won't take as long as it usually takes for them on these matters. But it is really hard to state how much of an intervention this is. This is going to change a lot of the thinking around COVID, that this lab hypothesis needs further investigation in a very, very serious way. I don't think it's what anyone was expecting from what had looked like quite a bland report.
Fascinating. Tom in Beijing, thank you very much.